Walmart has a new internal AI tool that helps Walmart's merchandising team analyze sales, pricing, and inventory faster than ever. According to Fast Company, to help merchants quickly access and analyze relevant information, Walmart has introduced Wally, an internal generative AI tool that can dive into internal data to create responses in just seconds. Wally uses a familiar chat style interface to retrieve relevant data from Walmart's databases while accurately interpreting product industry jargon and category names. Wally can then generate quick answers, tables, or full reports as needed. To make sure that Wally gives accurate answers, Walmart has developed automated tests where the tool's numeric responses are checked against known answers. The company even trained an AI judge to evaluate the software's conversations based on human annotated samples. Chris, I have two questions for you.
Okay.
First, are you buying or selling Wally, Walmart's new AI tool for merchants? And
Okay.
second, this is also the A&M put you on the spot question.
Oh God, yeah, we
And
haven't had it yet. Wow.
yes,
Okay.
A&M wants to know, it makes a lot of sense that Walmart is making data more accessible given the vast hours merchants spend combing through data and looking for insights to optimize their decisions, address executional challenges, or give them negotiation leverage. Walmart's been pushing on this front for several years, but the question is now with this live, how do job expectations for Walmart merchants change with this tool at their disposal? And what challenges will it put on CPG suppliers to add value as Walmart becomes more data savvy? This is a perfect question for you,
Wow.
given your merchandising experience throughout the years. What does this mean? And are you buying or selling?
Wow. Okay. All right. So there's a lot of meat on both those bones. I don't know how much time we have, but I think I'll take the A&M put you on the spot question first, Anne.
Okay.
I think that question is a great one.
Hmm.
And there's really two parts to it. Like, what is the impact to the merchants, and then what is the impact to the CPGs? I'm going to take the CPG part first, because Walmart having this tool, this technological capability, I think is really interesting because it creates an asymmetry of information between Walmart and its supplier community. And whenever there's an asymmetry of information, it's always an advantage in negotiations. So, yes, the supplier community is probably a little anxious today
Sure.
about reading this news because they're going to have to keep up. But yet, Walmart has all the data and can analyze it in this way with all these fancy new AI tools as well. So it's going to be tricky. So, but here's the other thing. All right, going back to the other question, which will get me back to the other part of the impact on the merchants too in the A&M question. Am I buying or selling this? Um, I want to buy this so hard, Ann. I want to buy this
Okay.
so hard because as soon as I read this, I sent in a message via LinkedIn to Brian Knapp, the SVP of Merchandising Transformation, who's quoted in the article, asking
Yeah.
him to come, please join us and talk about it with us on our 5 Insightful Minutes segment. So, because this is a major issue across every retailer. One of the biggest frustrations and stress points of any merchant, Ann, is the Monday morning meeting. It is
Hmm.
terrible. And oftentimes, this is what pissed me off the most. Oftentimes, the success of those meetings was 100% dependent on one, who had the time to come in early and pull a bunch of reports, and two, who knew how to pull those reports the best. Both of which are two skills that have absolutely nothing to do with merchandising. So that's still going to be a little bit of the case because you're still going to have to understand how to use this like chat GPT style analysis tool. But
Right.
I know for those listening, I'm speaking the language of the merchant right now because so if this works like they're saying it does, it's a massive game changer. It's massive, both for the long-term time savings and also keeping everyone on the same sheet of music. Because as I said before, last point I'll make is AI should drive the discussions in your morning huddle because it's objective. It's much more
Hmm.
objective than the DMM's wife telling her husband over the weekend, "Hey, I was in this store and I saw this. Can you make sure your team looks into it?" That used to happen, and it's
Right.
so frustrating when you've pulled all these reports and your whole day is now thrown off. And so, yes, but the bar is going to be raised for the merchants to A&M's question, like the bar is going to be raised. You're going to be expected to do more and you're going to expect it to be more efficient and more productive and drive more volume if the tools work like Walmart is purporting that they do.
Well, and Chris, I mean, do you think that this could actually be an effective tool in training them? Like if you're a new merchant, like many people start out in their retail careers as being a buyer's assistant or an analyst, like couldn't this Could this be an easier way of kind of training yourself if you had to, or is that not, do you not
Oh
think
yeah,
that's the
no, for
case?
sure. I mean, it's amazing the amount of data that we all have as retailers, but how hard it is to get it in a way that we can understand it. So, like for example, like say you were talking to Denise yesterday about the Scoop clothing line, and you're like,
Yeah.
"Hey, how do my sales in the South compare to my sales in the North?" That simple question probably takes the average retailer a very long time to pull. But if
Right.
AI can work in the background, and then you can actually, and then you can go, oh, now tell me how it looks in Miami versus Fort Lauderdale, and where are my in-stock opportunities? Where am I going to have inventory outages forecasted in the future? Like you can just go crazy with this. So that's why I'm still a little bit skeptical about how well this thing works.
Yeah.
But it's cool that they're trying to do it and they're publicly talking about it too, because it's going to be a differentiator as people gravitate towards working at the places that try to make them work easier and not harder as well.
Right. I was even talking about like just being able to put it into an Excel spreadsheet or graph or chart or something. Like I
Right.
feel
Yeah.
like
No,
this
for
is
sure.
just
Yeah.
saves
For
that
sure.
work on their side too, to like get to a point, instead of having to like teach somebody how to do, all of that busy work really. And it's been interesting too, because I've been asking that question of a lot of people here at eTail too, Chris, like how
Mm-hmm.
are you using AI in your day to day right now? And like one of the really interesting ones, Andre Rebrov, he's the CEO of Scentbird. I interviewed
Mm-hmm.
him yesterday. He was on a panel with a bunch of other CEOs, and they are using AI to completely eliminate the one-on-one meetings. So like the whole thing is like eliminate opportunities for people to complain about their jobs, basically. So instead, they're sending bots that are interviewing people throughout the weeks. Like you'd be having an AI conversation, like a language-based conversation with your surveyor who's a bot,
Like your
and
HR
then they
rep. Yeah.
yeah, but then they collect all this info, and then when you have your one-on-ones, it's like, here's how you've been doing, these are the things that we should, just like you said for the Monday morning meeting, like these are the ways that these AI tools are really finding efficiencies in business that might not be like an immediate, oh, this is changing our bottom line, but I think improving the day-to-day
Yeah.
life of work. So I think this is a great. I'm super pumped for Walmart, even if it's just like baseline stuff that they're starting to do right now to remove this friction and to get to this data faster and have somebody be able to like work off the same kind of dashboard of data, and get to making those decisions faster. So I love it. I think it's huge.
Yeah, it's a great point. Yeah, like review writing processes should be faster and more objective. The other point too,
Yes.
Dan, that we talked a little bit about last week with Lisa Collier, which I was kind of like vibing with her as she was talking a lot because she was a former merchant too. Like the I hope tools like this actually pull the merchants out of the spreadsheets and out of the
Hmm.
like the data analysis thing, and it gets them back to like thinking about and the art of merchandising in terms of driving product and putting it on display in the right way in the store and standing behind things with a point of view, the things that
Yeah.
AI cannot do, that the AI cannot do, at least not right now. And so that's what I hope ultimately comes from this.
Yeah, and I think in closing, Chris, I think it's only going to get more complicated. Like again, like Matt Pavich from Revionics is going to be on tomorrow, and he's talking about like just how the number one thing that everybody's freaking out about right now is like regulations outside of their control with potential tariffs and all these things happening, and you're just going to be buried in the details of that business trying to figure out how to make sure pricing is accurate or all these things, and you won't be able to stand behind your product like you're talking about. And I think it's impossible to move at the speed without some of these tools. So
Yeah, but it's liberating. You're right. Yeah, you're right. Because, sorry, I just keep going on this, but like you're
yeah,
right, because like the one of the most eye-opening things that Matt said in that interview was like, you can't look at a price of any product in isolation because it
no,
impacts another category. It could impact another category on an exact opposite side of the store. And there's no merchant that has the mental capacity to be able to handle that and compute that. And so you're
right.
right. And so hopefully, like you can take all those jobs out of the auspice of the merchant. Like I don't need to decide my pricing. Like that can be helped, or I can just, green light it, essentially. Yes, I agree with
Yes.
that,
Yeah.
and manage by exception. And so that's the beauty here.
Well, Wally, we have very high hopes for you. Don't let us down.
Yeah. I keep thinking the moose when he punches the moose at Wally World, like Wally World's freaking closed or whatever. I don't know. But
See,
yeah,
I'm
anyway.
thinking about Wally the robot, like Wall
Oh,
E.
Wall-E.
Yeah,
Yes. Okay.
that's where I was coming from,
Uh,
but
yeah.
it doesn't matter. Both
I
great
thought of that too. I thought of that
film
too.